Welcome to Lakeshore Seam Company. My name is Tiffany, sewist, designer, and teacher. Today we're going to be working on monkey diapers sew along. First we're going to create a template. I'm using cardboard, 7 inches across, 7 down. Then we're going to take that template. The tabs are 1.5, middle is 4 inches. I'm going to fold that in half and then I'm going to lay that on top of 2 folded pieces of fabric. From there, I'm going to cut around the outside of that template to cut away the pieces that we don't need. That's going to leave me with 2 T-shaped pieces of fabric, and I'll lay those on top of each other. Putting pretty sides together, I'm then going to take those over to the machine. Using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, I'm going to go around the outside perimeter of that T-shaped fabric. What that's going to do is then adhere those 2 pieces of fabric for the diaper. Work your way around, of course, lifting your pressure foot when you come to a corner, and then spin and then lay it back down. Once all done, we'll remove any pins that we had used. And then we're going to make sure and turn it right side out. So right now it's inside out. We need to flip it through. So take your time with this. I happen to have a chopstick close by, so I always have a chopstick here, and I use that to turn it right side out. That helps you get into the little corners. Just make sure you don't poke through. Sometimes that can happen. And if you do, of course, you just need to stitch it back up. Then we're going to close up that opening from where we turned it right side out. And then we'll take it back over to the machine where we can then sew our top stitch around the full outside again. I like to keep this pretty close to the edge, maybe 1/8 of an inch. And then I typically do up my stitch length to a 3 for top stitches. It's your preference though. Whatever you want to do is perfectly fine. Once done, we'll of course clean up any loose threads. And then we can see that we have made the initial outline of the diaper. Next, we're going to change our presser foot. So I am going to change this over to an A on my Brother machine. And this is going to help us make the tail opening. You pull the little lever down on your machine and it snaps in for the A. And then you do change the number on your machine. So every machine is going to be different. Mine happens to be a 40 on this machine. So just use your different guides there, to whatever it is you need for making a buttonhole. That's essentially what we're making here. So we're going to make 2 buttonholes crossed over top of each other. When you put it down, you put that pressure foot down in the front, and then it sews backwards kind of all by itself. So you can see I'm not really touching any of the fabric here, but it will, kind of sew by itself. It sews backwards and forwards using a real tight zigzag stitch. And then what you can do, it'll slow down here at the end. When it's done, you can lift the foot, and then what you'll see is it makes an X, and then you can take your seam ripper and just real carefully break that inside fabric. So I'm going from outside going in so that I don't stitch past the zigzag piece. And then I'm just cleaning up any of those loose threads. So now you can see we had that X shape for the tail. And now we're going to go ahead and put the elastic around the legs, and then there's going to be elastic around one of the tops as well. So I'm just using a little clip and then real carefully just lowering the presser foot. Notice I'd put my normal zigzag foot back on. And then I'm going to use manually my hand to kind of just make sure that the needle is going exactly where I want it. And then we'll start the stitching, of course, with a couple forward stitches, then a back stitch. You really want to make sure that this isn't going to loosen up. And then we pull that elastic, and this is just 1/8 of an inch elastic, flat elastic, and then, stitching all the way down. And I had left the elastic on the spool because I wanted more to grab onto instead of cutting it initially and then putting it on the side. From there, of course, we'll snip our threads, and then we'll cut the excess elastic away. And then you can see it's gathered the leg hole there. Perfect. Yep, there we go. So stretchy leg hole. Now we need to go ahead and do that on the other side. Okay, there we go. Now we have elastic across the top. We have both of our legs done, and we have the tail opening done. And now let's go ahead and just add a quick little bow that I had handy made out of the same material. I'm just putting that on the back side. I'm just going to do a couple little back stitches and a straight stitch over a couple of the little edges. You could do like a ruffle, a bow, all sorts of different options, or leave it plain. You don't have to go and add that on there. But this is a cute little girl monkey, and she just, loves all things frilly. So we're just going to go ahead and put that on there. And then we're just going to attach the other side as well. Just a little back stitch, simple little straight stitch down right over top of that bow just to hold it in place. It doesn't need to be like super secure, but just a couple stitches there. Okay, there we go. So now the bow is attached. We'll clean up any of those loose threads. And then you can see we're coming right along here. Really the only thing left to do is add the snaps so that we can hold this in place. So that's what we're going to work on next. All right, so looking at the snap assembly, what we've done is purchase from online store, Amazon, or wherever you can find them. They're pretty inexpensive, just little plastic snaps. They do send a tool so that you'll be able to, attach these to the fabric. There's a male and a female side that just snaps on. They grab the tool that comes in the kit, hold it in place, and then just press down, and then that will grab that plastic and it'll grab onto itself, adhering to the material that's in the middle. So what we're going to do for this project, we're actually going to add 4 across the top, and then we'll have 4 receiving snap areas across the back side, so that way you can keep that closed. So here you can see, again, just using the little dowel that they send with it to put all of those in place. And then testing out my snaps once I have all 4 on. Here we go, just doing a couple more. You want to make sure it's nice and secure for obvious reasons. And there we go. Diaper complete. Only about 20 more to go. So of course, do a test run. Make sure this is the right size. Make sure that everything fits comfortable for whatever pet that you're making these for, and then you can just go ahead and proceed. Again, thanks for joining us. This is Tiffany from Lakeshore Seam Company. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks. Bye.